Shalom, 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 shalom. Before we even get started in this lesson, first and foremost, we want to start by giving all praises and glory to Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, bahasham, Rakah, Kwadash. Secondly, we want to give double honors to the Elders Apostles and other bishops of Great Millstone who rule well and worthy of double honors. And third and lastly, we want to give salutations to all the occupants of the hopeful elect that pushing forth this word and this truth in righteousness and sincerity throughout the four corners. Shalom, shalom, shalom. And pretty much it's going to be an impromptu video here. And, you know, I was talking with my brother Kabad, you know what I'm saying? A fellow brother of GMS Midland, South Carolina, one of the brothers of GMS South Carolina Midlands, Kabad to be exact. I was speaking with that brother because, through the spirit, this had to be about 12 years ago, man. You know, the spirit used me, you know what I'm saying, be a vessel, you know what I'm saying, to bring, to bring his word and bring the truth to brother Kabad. And hey, man, you know what I'm saying, 12 years later, man, you know what I'm saying, we'll be, holding our 11th year passed over, man. You know what I'm saying, we came into faith, you know what I'm saying, the same year. I just woken up to this knowledge and this truth before brother Kabad did, me and that brother, knew each other, you know what I'm saying, before, we got into truth, man, but nevertheless, you know what I'm saying, just looking back, and, we was, the brother called me, I called him earlier, and, you know what I'm saying, and the brother, you know what I'm saying, he called me back, responded back to my call later on, today, and we was chopping up in the spirit, man, you know what I'm saying, gearing up and, getting our minds ready, you know what I'm saying, ready for the Passover, man, and pretty much, just, keeping our minds, geared up, you know what I'm saying, for, the main thing, that main prize, man, and that's getting our incorruptible crown from Yahawashi, man, you know what I'm saying, I'd rather we those men if we endure to the end, man, at the end of the day or whatnot, man, all right, so, just chopping up with him, and, I'm going down memory lane, and, the brother was like, man, pretty much, he said, in our, friendship, this brotherhood, man, this ministry, he was like, the reason why it is what it is, because, we never lost track of keeping the main thing, man, the main focus, man, regardless of how cool we are at the end of the day or whatnot, the main thing is, man, making sure we giving all diligence, man, in this faith and in this truth, to Yahawashi Double, man. All right, being and walking and conducting ourselves, man, daily, man, So, we never lose, or lost track of that, man. Then and even to this very day, man, even much more so, even to this very day, because as the years go by, the experience, you be more seasoned, you understand, what you involved with at the end of the day or whatnot, you get seasoned, everything, when it comes to this truth, you applying, you applying to your everyday life, man, not to say that, you don't have struggles here and there. Yeah, we all, have our battles at the end of the day, but hey, man, we got the words of Yahawashi Double, man, we know the power of prayer, the power of fasting in the name of Yahawashi Double, man, all right, also, you have the brotherhood, man, okay, so, I mean, you in it by yourself, but you ain't in it by yourself, man. Because, you got 144,000 other men, man, that's fighting, and a has fight or some, maybe wrestling in the spiritual realm. But, nevertheless, hey, man, they giving all diligence, man. All right, making their election assured at the end of the day or whatnot. And that's what it's all about, man. And that's, pretty much, in the conversation, man, when me and Kabad was having with each other at the end of the day or whatnot, those are terms, those are terms, we all, agreed to, man, like I say, going into, counting the costs, knowing what you involved in at the end of the day, you say involved with too, that's Sophia, which represents, wisdom, and understanding, and, to be, to be, like I said, having the Passover come up, And, you know, approaching, you know what I'm saying, this Wednesday Eve here. I mean, just because, you know, if you take the Passover unworthily, man, you know, man, shit, that's fucking death right there, man. Most likely put your ass goddamn fucking death, man. You know, partaking in the Passover unworthily, man. All right, that's a serious offense right there, man. You know, so like I said, man, there's a lot of reflecting around this time, man, round daily, round the clock. But even more so, you know what I'm saying, is even more hyping and highlighted, man, when you come across, you know what I'm saying, one of the, you know, major high holy days, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, the Passover and the seriousness, you know what I'm saying, of the Passover. It's a solemn assembly, man, at the end of the day or whatnot. You know, we know, you know what I'm saying, you know, the Passover going back to ancient Egypt, you know what I'm saying, some of the famous Passover in our history. You know what I'm saying? You know, with Yahawashi, because Yahawashi is the Passover, man, at the end of the day, ultimately, man. You know, going back where Yahawashi passed over the children of Israel, you know what I'm saying, during the time where Yahawashi bringing that death plague to them damn Egyptians, to their firstborns, you know, their males, to their firstborns, you know what I'm saying, and Yahawashi told Israel to put the, you know, the blood of the lamb on their doorposts, you know, and the death angel was going to skip over, you know what I'm saying, Israel. But Egyptians, man, you know what I'm saying, the Most High, hey, he was bringing death to them, man. All right, you know what I'm saying, to their firstborns, man. And that's what Yahawashi did, man. So around that time, you already know that Passover, people weren't laughing and smiling and, you know what I'm saying, and having fashion shows and these bullshit niggas be doing today, bro. All right, making a mockery, these fake ass goddamn, you know what I'm saying, these fake ass you know, I mean, I'm using my words wisely, man. All right, but these off-brand ass fucking Israelites, these false prophets out here, man, that make this truth, you know what I'm saying, try to, you know what I'm saying, make this truth a merchandise, man. All right, bring blame upon this truth, man. You niggas, man. All right, you know, making mockery of this truth, man. All right, trying to make this truth fucking world friendly and shit, man. And that ain't what it's about, man. All right, Yahawashi ain't about getting all of Israel inside. I mean, he only for the elect, man. Only for the elect, man. All right? Okay? This truth is only for the elect, not no goddamn all of Israel, man. All right? End of the day or whatnot, man. Going back to Matthew 13 and 9, man, this truth is a mystery, you know, the 2/3, man. This truth is only made known to the elect. That's it. Amos 3 and 7. Yahawashi will surely do anything, but he revealed his secrets to his servants, the prophets, man. Not every goddamn body, man. All right? But anyway, I'm already to my destination. Wasn't even making it long or anything of that nature, making this lesson long, rather. But like I said, man, you know, around this time, you know what I'm saying, the Passover, because we know, that's when Yahawashi do his major house cleaning, man. Ain't like he need none of us, man. And we know 2,000 years ago, around the time, you know what I'm saying, you know, Passover, we already know, man. Yahawashi had to fulfill prophecy, man. Had to, you know, be that sacrificial lamb, man. At the end of the day, man. All right? You know? So, I mean, this is, you know what I'm saying, serious, every day is serious times, man. But even more so, man, you know, just a reminder, hey, man, that Passover, man, you know, hey, making sure, you know, man, making sure, hey, we right, looking that man in the mirror, man, and we, rightfully so, as we're commanded to do by Yahawashi, give warning, letting Israel know they transgression, let Israel know they going off, rebuking Israel. But first and foremost, man, you know, we're supposed to be examining ourselves, man, making sure our house is in order, man. At the end of the day, make sure we got a beam on our eye, man. You know, okay? You know, checking ourselves, man. At the end of the day, pushing ourselves, making sure we giving all, you know what I'm saying, diligence, making our election assured, man. All right, you know, okay? Making sure we not hypocrites, man. Same thing you judging Israel on, you guilty of your goddamn self, man. You know? We don't want to be no damn hypocrites, man. We don't want to be in that day and that time. Yahawashi say he don't know us, man, in that day and that time, man. All right, you know, that's gonna be a cold ass fucking feeling, man. That's gonna be the coldest rejection you ever had, you ever fucking known at the end of the day, man. You don't wanna hear them words. You want Yahawashi to say he know you, man. You know, you know, you beloved. You want Yahawashi to call you a brother, man, a friend, man. All right, you know, okay? Because if you ain't no friend, you ain't a brother Yahawashi, hey, man, you know, that means you a 2/3, man. That means, man, your ass gonna get put to fucking death, man. Your ass gonna partake in that lake of fire, man. That second death, man. All right? So, you know, we coming into, you know, we already in Jacob's trouble, man. All right? You know, we already, man, World War III, man. We already in the mix of that, man. All right? You know, already in the midst of the sea hip, the mark of the beast, man. When Esau, you know, made this society a cashless society, Most I can speed everything up, man. All right, everything gonna speed up, man. All right, you know, these social class wars and drafts and martial law and sedition, man. Many, like Scripture said, 2 Ezra 8 and 50, man. Many great miseries, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's gonna take place here, man, in Babylon in the latter days, man. And we here, man. We here, man. All right, we just in the beginning, man. We ain't seen nothing yet, man. All right, you know, but it's a blessing, man. Yahawashi, you know, allow us, man, to hold the Passover to the best of our ability, because we ain't gonna be able to keep it perfect to the kingdom. Okay, you know, we're practicing the righteous rehearsal on this side, as the scriptures say we will, you know, okay, but we holding it to the best of our ability. We keeping it solemn, like we're supposed to, man. Like when Yahawashi and the disciples, man, you know what I'm saying, they had no damn, you know, they had these women in there, you know what I'm saying? You know, you had some of the disciples had women, had wives, had kids, man. You know, they was, you know, Yahawashi had women that follow him, man. All right, and follow the disciples, man. All right, you know, but they wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? They didn't partake, you know what I'm saying? They wasn't up there partaking in the Passover. All right, that was just for, you know what I'm saying, Yahawashi and the disciples, man, the true believers, man, the men, man, the elect, man, of that time. That's how it's supposed to be today. Okay, now you know, if you're a man of the Lord and you have if you know you wanna you hold the Passover with your brothers like we supposed to, you know what I'm saying, we hope, you know what I'm saying, we keeping the Passover. And if you wanna keep, you know, you wanna hold the Passover with your family, you wanna do that, you know, like, you know, I don't give me a day, I wanna, you know, keep the Passover with my family too. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You can hold the Passover with your family. That's not going off. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's not going off, man. All right, you know, but the main focus is, you know what I'm saying, this is for the true belief, the men of the Lord, the prophets right here, man. You know what I'm saying? This is a solemn assembly, man. All right, you know, all right, this is for the true believers right here. Okay, at the end of the day, man. All right, and you gonna have what? They're gonna be men, man. All right, men, man. All right, our women are gonna be at what? Women gonna be at the home, man, at the house, man, where they supposed to be. All right, you know, okay, you know, and like I said, if you wanna, you know what I'm saying, do something with your family, you know, hold the Passover with your family, that's cool too, man. All right, you know. But nevertheless, man, you know what I'm saying, this time of reflection, man. Time of reflection. Every day is time of reflection, but even more so. You know, like I say, this is where Yahawashi, he do that major housekeeping, man. All right, he do that major house sweeping, man. I say housekeeping, house sweeping, man. All right, do that spring cleaning, man. Man. You know, okay, he do that all year round, but even more so, man. You know what I'm saying, around this time of the year right here, man. You know. But nevertheless, man, you know what I'm saying, about to go ahead and end this lesson right here. You know, out of pray, and I hope it was edifying. And you know what I'm saying, I want to say shalom to those for that, man. Shalom.